Hello, I'm Ramona Koval. Like all of us who are mad for books, I've been reading all my life, sometimes for love, sometimes for money. And when I stopped reading for money, I decided to write a book about reading, about what books have meant to me all my life, about what I've learnt about life from all the books I've read. So I've written this book. It's called By the Book, A Reader's Guide to Life. And I'd just like to read you a little bit from the beginning. Reading a book, my mother would stretch out in the lounge room on one of the deep purple divans that would later be made up into beds, her soft body covered in a blanket, her attention taken solely by the pages between her hands. She was lost to us for that time, her mind occupied and whirring. I'm sure she must have read to me, but I can't remember what exactly it might have been. English was her fourth or fifth language, and it had been learned on the factory floor in the garment industry, so I imagine she wasn't as fluent then as she was to become. I own some little golden books, but I can't remember a proper bookshelf. Googling the Little Golden Book series now, I only recognise the little red hen who tries to enlist the other farmyard animals to help with planting and harvesting and otherwise preparing the grain for flour and then its transformation into bread. They're too busy having fun, and when her industry is rewarded, she doesn't share her bounty with them. I've always thought that she was a twisted martyr who should have made the tasks more fun and then shared with the others who might have been amused to go along with her. I now understand that the Little Golden Book series was targeted at exactly the child I was. Published in America in 1942 during the war, they were sold there for 25 cents and designed to be for children from all socioeconomic levels and sold in department stores beyond bookshops and specialist children's outlets. Indeed, in 1950s working class Melbourne, we bought our books from the newsagent's shop. Noddy Goes to Toyland by Enid Blyton was published in 1949, and looking at it on blessed Google, I remember the warm tangerine cover and the multicoloured letters in the title that must have taken my attention. I couldn't read yet. I like Noddy and Big Ears because they had a red open-top car. My memory is that they used it to breeze around the countryside and get away from evil gollywogs. That's what reading was for my mother and became for me, a way to escape, a private time machine, a place that began with moral instruction but soon morphed into a pool of empathy. When I went to kindergarten, I realised that there was more than one Noddy book, as the bookshelf there positively groaned with them. Here comes Noddy again, be brave little Noddy, do look out Noddy, and Noddy gets into trouble. Here I learned that books could be collected. They were important enough to keep, and that a story that seemed to be over was only part of a bigger one. The John and Betty books had to be tackled. They were full of mysterious symbols to be mastered, but when you did, the messages were so much less interesting than Toy Town and Mr. Plod. John can jump. Betty can jump too. Fluff the cat, and Scotty the dog likewise. I had chickenpox that year and had been away from kindergarten for some weeks, and it was my turn to read aloud. There was a new letter in the front of a group of sentences. It looked like the letter L for lamp and lady and lolly. So I spoke up loudly, sounding the L. All can see Scotty. All can see Fluff. There was a murmuring as I charged ahead. All can see John. All can see Betty. Miss Joseph, the large and kindly teacher, asked me to stop. That's not all, she said. It's capital I. It means I, as in I am your teacher and you are Ramona. And you can say, I am Ramona and you are my teacher. It's the way all of us talk about ourselves, and you say it, I. I looked at the letter with newfound respect. It was the way you wrote and read everything to do with what it was like looking out of this face with these eyes to the big world. This was the letter to describe the meanness of things. This reading I was learning to do marked the moment when the profundity of the world deepened for me, and it was the tool with which I would begin to make sense of it. I realised that reading was the key that opened secret lands, strange places, and the worlds behind other people's eyes. Much later, when I discovered the hidden promises of a toy microscope, the possibilities were similar. There was a hidden and fantastic world you could only see with the mechanism of the lens. I had the same thrill when I discovered the telescope, and mastering the tools opened up possibilities.